fabric of the academy, as they've been speaking since the Middle Ages. All these rules and regulations and speaking to each other, not even addressing each other by name, but only as the distinguished gentleman from biology or the esteemed chair of the history department, until the matter itself, the subject matter itself is so intense that it emerges and explodes. And then there we sit, we have no solution. We have no way to resolve the issue.
Then Doug, let me play a devil's advocate then. In addition to being professionally qualified to teach something like philosophy, by virtue of the fact that you know the interiors of the discipline competently, does one have to be a Caucasian to fully qualify to teach a course on Western philosophy?
Well, it's a difficult question, and of course that's the crux of the issue for these people that I'm describing, which is that it's just inconceivable for this person who's the head of the history department at this college that a young woman of Jewish descent could be allowed to speak of such matters. And I think in the same way, I think it's very difficult for a person of color to confront something like a Western Civ class or a course on Western philosophy, because there will be some residue of folks who don't think that that's proper to happen. So, and those kinds of situations, what I was interested in my piece is those kind of situations exist inside the academy, just as they do outside
the academy.
But they're manifest in different ways. And
they're manifested partly, as you properly point out, through this impossible language of polish that hides the prejudice to be penetrated and be exposed for what it is. Because the academia has specialized in hiding untruths by framing them through the language of impressive.
Right. We have a tradition of
truths,
of ways to, as you say, hide the truth in more or less elegant ways. And so what I would like to be able to do when I'm writing is to expose maybe what's lurking behind. So whether or not these gentlemen would have had this exact exchange, that was, to me, that was the unmasking of the
precisely
of the true thought behind the rhetoric.
I'm very grateful. I learned a lot from this piece. Very well done. I'm sure my viewers did also. Now there's this humorous piece now that I'm sure viewers will enjoy, and I'll try to read it equally joyously for my viewers. Showtime, it's called. By the time I reached the top of the stairs, the thick masonry and heavy drapes muffled the street hiss. The lobby is plush red. Dark oil paintings of indeterminate subject hang high on the walls. Leaning out at the top so at the unknown personages gaze impassively at the top of my head. Crimson velvet drapes have been pulled to the side and tied with twisted golden cord. The late afternoon light yellows, smothered by translucent sheer curtains. The deep, even nap of the carpet cushions my steps. A few straight chairs are placed against the walls, but there is no comfortable seating. Against the wall, opposite the windows, is a small portable bar. A young man in livery arranges bottles on the Fox marble surface, wine, beer, mineral water, soda. I'm the first parent to arrive in this antechamber to the performance hall. A polished flat screen monitor hangs over the bar. On it is an empty stage with a Steinway grand piano against a cream and white background. My daughter, Sophie, appears downstage right and walks to the piano, where she sits and begins playing the Polonic intermezzo I've been listening to for almost a year. intermezzo. She leans into the first section, stops, begins again, then jumps to a difficult passage later in the piece. She seems more focused than nervous. "How do I get into the hall?" I asked the bartender. "The house is closed." "But that is my daughter playing on the monitor." "Through that door to the left." Sophie does not look up as I enter the hall and walk down the aisle. She started the piece again and frets over the first few measures. When I reach the front, I take out a camera and snap shots of my daughter. A door opens the stage left and a custodian appears. "He can't be here playing the piano." "My teacher told me I could warm up a half hour before the performance." The custodian notices the camera. "You can't take no pictures here. This is Carnegie Hall." He watches us leave the auditorium. We walk around the building to the performance entrance where Sophie disappears into the green room. I make my way back to the lobby, now uncomfortably full of families waiting to see their sons and daughters perform for a few minutes on the famous stage. The monitor shows a blank stage with a piano. The concert goes quickly, each performer limited to 5 minutes, a movement of a sonata or a showpiece of technical difficulty. They've been ranked numerically based on their auditions several months ago. Sophie plays a bit past the middle of the concert. 6 months later, I received 2 professional photos of Sophie at the grand piano. The images are uninspired and out of focus. Fortunately, I have the memory and the illicit snapshots of my daughter's first performance at Carnegie Hall. Beautifully written, by the way. Stylistically masterpiece. Let's hash out some of its details, as we did with the first 2 pieces, if you're so inclined.
Well, this is very different from the others. This is an actual.
Very much so.
This is about actual experience. My daughter is a musician, and she's been competing since she was maybe 12 years old. And in this audition, she was invited to come and play to play a piece in Carnegie Hall. So it's a big occasion for us. We go down to New York City with her and have this lovely concert.